Petit pois frais à la française. That's peas braised with lettuce and onions for medium-sized, tender, fresh peas. This dish is considered the glory of pea cookery. It should really be served as a separate course and eaten with a spoon. It involves labor, so I guess if you want to put in that kind of labor for a vegetable dish, you want to do it for someone special. Also because it's delicious, but also because it involves a lot of work too, a lot of preparation. It was our favorite vegetable dish, Dick and my favorite vegetable dish, which is why it's also special to me. I fell in love. Well, I already was in love with this. The only man I ever wanted to marry, who told me before anything really got started, when we were standing on a corner in San Francisco, and he said, you know, I need to tell you something. And I said, well, what? And he said, well, if it weren't for you, I'd be homosexual. So we moved in together, and to kind of bind us and to draw us together, I started cooking from Julia Child every day. I cooked my way through Julia Child. And I just had these moments in the kitchen that were all about bonding and love and romance. It was like the sex was in the food. I mean, you know, he was my family. And it wasn't just that he was my lover and husband. He was like my mother and my father, and my brother, and, you know, all the relatives that you can think of, and my friend. And it was like he was the first family I really had that was a loving family. And I valued that so much because I hadn't had that as a child. Tasting Home, my book, my memoir, is about the emotional labor that cooking for and dining with other people can perform in people's lives. You know, it can heal the person. It can consolidate intimate relations with other people, create a sense of home and family, and it can also be a foundation for bringing people together into communities.